أهلا وسهلا، صباح الخير يا شباب. وطابت أوقاتكم بكل سرور وسعادة. Inshallah, in this weekly study guide, this will be the multimedia version of the weekly study guide that you receive every Friday. I will go through all the activities and exercises that you'll be doing, where to find them, and how to submit your homework. So this is the first week, and this video is for both Advanced Arabic D and Year Abroad Arabic students. The themes are kind of miscellaneous. In the reading, we're covering taster articles of all the themes that we are within the curriculum. So for this week, the speaking is living and studying during the pandemic. Grammar is an essay writing for general grammar revision. The writing will be a translation from English to Arabic, a collection of sentences around living and studying in the Arab world. Reading is about, you're going to have a number of articles to read, media articles that revolve around the themes for this curriculum. Interpreting is an exercise where you role play an interview with an Arabic teacher from Qasid Institute. And Media Arabic, there will be a video tutorial on basic media vocabulary, and then you will have an activity where you read a news article of your choice. Homework needs to be submitted by 5 p.m. Okay, let's start with the vocabulary now. The vocabulary is very crucial that you need to make sure that you study it in advance. So the vocabulary, you have a set of core lists of vocabulary. All the lists are core because they supplement or they support certain activities. So you have one core list which is specific to the reading, and that's called the core vocab. So that covers all the words that you will see in the core text, the core text articles. For speaking, there's also a specific there's a dedicated list of vocabulary that you need to study in advance, and for writing as well, there is one too. How to study this vocabulary? There is different ways depending on your learning styles. There is the static PDF list that you could go through, but there is also recorded audio pronunciation of these words. There are interactive tests and quizzes and Quizlets, so make sure you do that on your mobile. Very convenient to do it actually on your mobile. The variety of tests like multiple choice, true or false, and other games that you could play just to reinforce that vocabulary. Where to find them? You need to go to the PG Arabic archive. It's actually accessible through Teams, and the password is always PG Arabic. Moving on to speaking now. Speaking, it's an opportunity for you to discuss your thoughts and reflections on living and studying during the pandemic. How was your experience during the summer, with its ups and downs, with its good and bad? So the questions were adapted to the current circumstances. How you study the vocabulary first. Again, you make sure you study that list of vocabulary which is on the handout, but also there is an interactive version. You study the conversation starters and questions. Make sure you do this in advance. And since we have an on-campus class, prepare yourself for a live synchronous discussion on campus with your peers. Again, you go to the PG Arabic archive, and you'll find all the resources there. Moving on to interpreting, which is part of speaking. So the interpreting exercise is a role play. Is a role play of an interview with an Arabic teacher from Qasid Institute. You study the vocabulary first. How you do this? You study the vocabulary first, specific to the activity. If the activity is done in class, just follow the teacher's guidelines in class. If you're not available on campus, make sure you pair up with a study partner online. Role play the dialogue using the simultaneous interpreting method, and make sure you record that conversation either on audio or video. Upload it to assignment AAD 1 or YAA, and your teacher will follow up your work with comments and suggestions. Moving on to grammar. As I said, there are no new grammatical structures to cover this week, but you are asked to write a short essay, no more than 150 words, discussing your experience about living during the pandemic. So what do? You answer the questions that are in the handout, talking about living and studying during the pandemic. You upload the assignments to AAD1 and YAA1W, and your teacher again will follow up with feedback. Now the feedback is very useful because it's going to give us an indication of the common areas where students need support with, especially grammar, and we will try to come up with some material or some resource to alleviate those issues. Where to find it? Again, usually the abbreviation that we use here is G. Since this is a writing exercise based on speaking, you just use the same handout you had for speaking. Okay, moving on to writing and translation. With me, you'll be doing a translation activity on living and studying in the Arab world. How do you do it? First, make sure you study the key vocab specific to the activity, and the task is to translate all sentences in part 1 from English to Arabic. Part 1 is entirely optional, it's not compulsory. Upload the assignments to the relevant assignments under the abbreviation W, and I will follow up with some comments and feedback on your writings. Now moving on to reading comprehension with Jonathan, you will be expected to read a selection of taster media articles, including articles on the Arabic language, the social media, the Arab Spring, economics, literature and culture, and a few others. So these are short, bite-sized articles, just give you a taster of what's coming up during the semester. Remember to study the core vocab for these articles. Listen to the core text first and then read them. So just get an idea of what they are. Listen, there are some teacher instructions on video that you could watch and listen to. As soon as you do that, answer the comprehension questions and upload your work to assignments under the abbreviation R, and Jonathan will get back to you with feedback and suggestions. For Media Arabic, there are 2 items. There is a short video that you're going to watch, which is about the core language or vocabulary used in the media. And the second task is reading a media article and summarize its main gist. For task 1, you watch the video tutorial and you complete some activities that follow. And for task 2, you read an article of your choice about any theme. Preferably try to keep it within the themes of the course. Or you could also listen to a news report, 1 minute, 2 minutes, nothing more, and try to summarize its main gist. As soon as you do that, write a short summary of the story in Modern Standard Arabic in 50 words and upload the assignments to the relevant Dropbox under the abbreviation MA. Your teacher will follow up with feedback and suggestion. If you're coming to the on-campus session, you will have an opportunity to discuss your article with your peers in class. Okay, and I will show you later on how to access the material. Now, let's move on to a live demo of how to access and how to find and how to locate all these the handouts that we've just mentioned. Starting with speaking, so what you do, you type S. So that brings up all the speaking material available, but we don't want to look at all of them. We just want one specific for this week, and AD1. And that brings up 2 versions. One is for those living and studying in the Arab world, for those who have been to the Arab world. So this is the older version. And then there's a newer adapted version, which is studying during the pandemic. The activity is under this under the access column. And then you access the vocabulary under the quizzes column. Moving on to interpreting, again you replace S with an I and you keep AAD1. That brings up the interview handout. For grammar, now for this week we don't have any grammar. For the grammar you need to write an essay based on the speaking session. So you will use the same material, same handout for speaking. Make sure it's the first one, which is studying during the pandemic. And then writing, again, you replace S with a W and you get the handout and the quizzes. For reading, same thing here. The folder here has quite a lot of material, audio, video that you can access for all the articles. What else? We have Media Arabic, it's MA, and the material also is downloadable from the same page here, which is media terminology, the press and printed media. same abbreviation. So you can see how straightforward the searchable archive is. All you do is you type thing. Again, there are different ways to do it by selecting the material here, but I think this is probably one of the easiest way to locate exactly what you're looking for. So you only get the search result that you need. So I hope these explanations were useful, and I think this is kind of complementary to the written handout. I will be doing this every week, and you will get and it will be posted online every Friday. So it will have a dedicated page on Teams, and that's going to be my next video. Until then, I'll speak to you soon. Ma salama.